Hey Peyton, nice to see you again on this beautiful day. This time with a quote by H.W.L. Poonja. Whatever comes, let it come. What stays, let it stay. And what goes, let it go. How do you feel hearing this quote? And how do you relate to that right now in the situation you're in?
I love this quote. It's an inspiring reminder of a certain posture we can have toward experience that bears really good fruit. And it's a bit of a paradox at first that you and I talk a lot about agency, and yet you and I also talk a lot about surrender. How can these two things coexist? How can we be people that are exercising our maximum agency and moving with full life force and courage in the world with intention, while also trying to embody this mindset or this stance of opening ourselves to the flow of reality, opening ourselves to, as I call it, the unfolding will of God, or some people would say, the flow of the universe. How can these two things coexist? How can they even be complementary? This is in my opinion, the most advanced balance for those of us who are trying to live a life of full engagement and increase our capacity beyond what is possible when we are operating with a clenched fist in life. So, how does it look like to let it come, let it stay, let it go? What is a wise flow with reality, in your opinion?
You beautifully said it. It's the universe unfolding, unrolling. It is the acceptance of reality as it is in terms of it is not set, it is not predetermined. Our whole being and our brain is like an open system which can not be determined in any kind of way. We cannot know what we will think in 5 days or even in 5 hours, sometimes not even in 5 minutes. So why do we want to grasp on our ideas and hold on our sense of this should be like this? I think accepting that reality unfolds as it unfolds gives you the power to influence it just right now. It is bringing you agility in terms of you will be able to react better and also to stay on your course. If you determined your principles, if you determined your sense of this is a life I want to live, this is how I want to relate, this is how I want to bring value, then you can just let it flow and act upon things which emerge. And then bring your whole self to the table and join the party of the unfolding universe and tap into the flow. Let it come what comes, let stay what wants to stay, and let it go what wants to go. But always react like you always react in a way that lets you stay in your power, that lets you make wise decisions, that makes you not cling on your ideas. And how, Peyton, how is a practical approach in not letting ourselves down and holding up our vision and also letting ourselves flow and surrender? How
Hmm.
do we do that practically?
I think it has a lot to do with our rigidity or flexibility. And it has a lot to do with, are we trying to influence reality? Are we trying to move and shift with the flow as a part of reality, connected with reality right now? Or are we trying to control the reality? Are we trying to have a clenched fist and manipulate and enforce our specificity on reality, on our reality's timeline, on reality's details, on the movements? There's a verse in the Tao Te Ching that says trying to control the future is like trying to use the master carpenter's tools. If you handle the master carpenter's tools, chances are you'll cut yourself. And this control thing, it's true. Like the more I find that I'm trying to truly control and demand that something happens on my time, in my way, how I want it to go, and I'm unwilling to accept any possibility that it's another way. In that, I actually am cutting myself off from the real flow of reality. And over, I've tried it and it doesn't work. Like, actually, reality is this giant flow of a million different forces. And I happen to be a primate operating within this giant thing that's going on. And this giant thing that I'm always encountering right now that I never actually fully can compute everything going on. I certainly can't control everything that's going on. And to the extent to which I demand control, I demand to know how things will play out. I demand that everything happens exactly how I think it should. I am not successful in actually manipulating this. It's like swimming in a river and trying to force the stream to go the opposite direction and trying to push the river this direction instead of actually swimming with the current and going with the current and flowing with it all. If I try to push reality this way, I'm actually going to just freaking drown because it's a bad way to swim. It's not
Mhm.
going to work. And so it's a bad strategy, I find. Actually, swimming with the current, having intention on, okay, I would like to get to this shore, or I would like to go in this direction and cross to this side, or I would like to avoid this rock that's in front of me. So I will see that the current diverges in these two ways, and I'll use my momentum to go in this direction around it. This is kind of our stance of this. It's dealing with the most vital matters by letting events take their course within and throughout us, as well as within and throughout the whole field around us. It's this unifying ourselves with the ecosystem of flow, entering into flow in the now, which is the only area where the only zone in which we can influence reality and exercise our agency. That's something we have to come back to over and over, that people really, the reality or that circumstances and framings of things tend to pull us out of, but actually re entering into the flow of now. And then we actually receive what we are to do. In that hour, it will be given to us what we are to say. In that hour, we will not act of our own accord, but actually reality can flow through us in unity with reality. And this is where the agency of our flow, our highest potential, our greatest capacity, can be moved with intention with the flow of things in the right way, in the right moment. This is where our capabilities are maximized and where we are in full alignment with whatever direction we are going, because we are first aligning ourselves with reality. We are first unifying ourselves with reality. And only then can we actually move with it. And even when things are really not going as we would want to control them in those moments, if we are unified, if we are in flow, we can dance with the flow of things in the maximum amount of our agency, the maximum amount of us doing what's within our control will get done in the healthiest way, in the wisest way. We'll make way fewer mistakes that actually set us way back because we are first aligning ourselves. It's not that everything will go our way. It's not that, oh yeah, secretly you're using this technique and now you can control all of reality. Congrats. Now you found your way to control. You don't get control at the end of the rainbow. That's not on the menu. Control of all of reality is just out of the question. Try it in your own experience. Try it 1,000 times. My experience is if I try to control things, if I try to control the big picture of the universe and how it unfolds, I'm like, oh, for 100,000 at this point. When I flow with reality and I truly align myself with the unfolding of, as I call it, the unfolding of God's will, or the unfolding of the universe and events in the course of the one, the wholeness of things, the ecosystem of everything that's interconnected, interconnecting each other, the whole environment, all of its energies, all of its matter, all of the forms, everything that's moving and flowing together now. If I'm in the now and I'm being breathed by all of it, I'm being moved by all of it, I have my intentions and the magnet of my own intuition pulling me forward and through and in the right direction, speaking through me of what spontaneously needs to be said right now. This is where the agency is the highest, the capability is the highest, the well being is the highest, and it's the best we can do. We will never be God controlling everything from above like puppet masters that have complete control. We can never be in complete control of even the systems and the cells within our own bodies. You will see that some of the most rich and powerful people in the world have health conditions that they cannot control. You will see that the most powerful and rich people in the world have mental health conditions that obviously they would want to go away and are not successful in making go away. These are things that can point us toward, okay, I can look around, not just in my own experience. I can survey the land and just look at 10,000 different people that are really trying to control things. How's it going for them? How happy are they? How flourishing are they? And experiment in our own life and just pay attention. Use radical empiricism to see how things go when you apply when you hold on, or when you allow the space and operate with a certain truth in your mind, and see what fruit it bears. See what fruit it bears when I have the concepts in my mind that I need to control everything and I'm the shit and I'm a master and I make shit happen and I'm gonna do anything and I'm all powerful. Versus, how does that go? Doesn't go well in my experience. It ends up hurting and I end up making mistakes and I make things way worse for myself, and it leads to a lot of suffering, and I'm not as good with people when I'm trying to control things or whatever. Versus, how does it go when I say yes, whatever's happening, yes, and I'm going to flow with intention, and I'm going to allow, and I'm going to enter into unity with the wholeness now. How do I do? How do things go? How do I feel? How is the efficacy? How is the agency? All of this is the best thing that's on the menu in my experience. So how do we choose the right menu option? And how do we not deceive ourselves with the menu option that is illusory, is my question for you.
Well, if we are not like the madman standing at the seashore trying to fight against the waves and trying to hold them back, then we can just accept that there is energy which is flowing and ebbing and coming and going, that there will be waves in our experience, in our lives, and we might as well just learn to serve them. We might as well just learn how to utilize this energy and not just resist it and try to form it and try to force it. And this is rooted in a deep acceptance that we are not what we think we are. When we think about ourselves, it is probably most likely our ego speaking, our identity, our stories, which overlap, which form this tight framework of what we call ourselves. This is only a part. This is only a thing which emerges and tries to get some control, tries to help us to move through the world in a safe way, tries to protect itself. Maybe in some ways it's kind of a parasite. Sometimes in its weaker forms, it's a symbiont, but it's some kind of a structure which tries to resist things which destabilize this structure if things don't turn out as we wanted them to turn out. And therefore, accepting that we are more than just this structure, that we are like bunch of cells and with organs and like very complex systems which evolutionary emerged and made robots which were self-replicating, just our self-moist robots, and realizing that also in our minds there are different kind of systems which try to play with each other, try to dance with each other, ebb and flow depending also on how we treat ourselves, how we treat our body, how we move, how we eat, how we sleep. These things are very important. So, in my opinion, taking the view of accepting that we are not what we think we are, that we are just more than that, and even that we are things we do not see we are, and that we are part of the whole, that we are like a complex dance of the whole universe taking a look on itself, that we are also with the relationships we have with our surroundings, with other people, not resisting, not judging whether it's good or bad, and not trying to hold on, not trying to cling on, and then joining the dance of the things and dancing well and choosing the way we want to dance well, choosing with whom we want to dance well, and choosing how we want to experience the dance of what is our life and what is our experience. I think that is on the menu So I have to do a lot of work with that because sleeping, it's the basics, but still I try to learn and figure out how to do it right. And there are systems for it. Then there's discipline. Okay, I need to really lean myself into ways of being where discipline emerges and not just gets forced. Finding out how that works is still a big part of the work I have to do. What about you, Peyton?
I'm reminded through this whole thing of this paradigm of unity and division. It seems to run through so much of this. When we're worried and trying to control the future, we're dividing our mind. Sitting here now in this body, in this room, in this moment, and yet my mind is actually playing this future scenario and planning, and what am I going to need to do on Monday, and what am I going to need to do in this conversation, and how am I going to figure out this, and what am I going to do about this problem, and how am I going to do this, and there's this fracturing of our attention, and oftentimes there's four different threads running in my mind at the same time, and each one of them is limited by the flattening and the extreme lossy compression of language and future planning that we encounter. And unity, on the other hand, comes always now. Unity is right here. Unity is available, and it's not something that we manufacture or scheme or create. It's something that we fall back into. It's a grace that we accept. And so for me, I think a part of what I need right now, as I've been both unified for much of this week and also very deeply fractured for much of this week in worrying about the future, is the practice of unity, the practice of right now being whole, right now experiencing real wholeness, not thinking about wholeness, not having a story in my mind about wholeness, not having the map become the territory or the idea of wholeness and unity becoming the end and substituting a label for the reality of wholeness in being, in experience, in reality right now, from aligning myself unilaterally, surrendering to what actually is here now, and practicing that, even in the simple things, even when it doesn't feel productive, like a part of my system wants it to feel productive, like I'm gaining something or like I'm putting something in my pocket. The practice of unity, the honoring of unity, the um, the even worshiping of the sacred unity of reality, of the divine creating nature of the one now. This for me is a foundation of the unity that can be with me, the relationship with unity that I can have, that I can serve, and that will flow through me and bear much better fruit than my own division and scheming and trying to control can bear. And so, in the moments when it feels more productive to fracture my mind with planning and figuring out and scheming, can I come back to unity? Can I honor unity as the highest end in and of itself? Not as my ideas about it, but really experience it now. The Aramaic verse that comes to me from Jesus's Beatitudes, it's often translated in a way that obscures the meaning of what he's saying, is and it means that are those who soften what is too rigid within them, for they will inherit the earth. And so, what is too rigid within me? Where am I having a clenched fist on reality and demanding that it's a certain way and refusing to align myself from my end to surrender into the flow, to accept that I am in this river and this river is flowing exactly as and where it is. And I need to go with the current rather than pretending that I can stop the current or force the current in any other way. This is my intention for this week. Trust, flow, let what comes, comes. Let what be. Let what go. Let be of reality and to unify with it. Any last intentions from you, my friend?
Beautifully put, man. My intention is to have a great time and be there and let the holiday with my family come. Let them be together let us be together, and then let it go again when it's over. So this will be my intention, man.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I enjoyed the conversation. Talk to you in the next one, friend.
See you soon.
See you.